think we just need to push this way there.
All right, and we are live. Welcome, 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 everybody. And welcome to Token Tuesday. It's Legalize It, Don't Criticize It. Live here. You're with James Brinkerhoff and Bridget Ward coming to you from Parachute, Colorado and Missoula, Montana. We're excited to be here today. And Sonia's trying to jump on the show, but she's traveling down in around the Denver area doing some top secret missions down there. So if she ends up showing up, we can talk to her. But for now, what I'm going to do is I just want to welcome everybody that's on here. And if you guys want to just give me a shout out and see who's on today. Hey, Kelly from Florida, how you doing? Kenneth, what's up, Kenneth? Evelyn, nice to see you. Hey, Anna. Kari, nice to see you. Tandra, glad that you're here. Daniel from Arkansas. Awesome, Daniel. I saw your post about Arkansas getting their first registered cannabis growers down there. That's pretty exciting for Arkansas. What's up, Kendrick, Stella, Kay, Denise, how you doing? And it looks like Sonia's got to be a watcher this time. She's on the page. All right, Texas is in the house. Oklahoma, awesome, Melody. Glad that you're here. Tracy, Latasha, awesome. Welcome, guys. Well, welcome. Super excited today. I'm excited to see what Bridget has in store for us from Starbuds. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Bridget. Nice to have you here, Bridget.
Thank you so much, James. Nice to be here. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Glad you're all here to listen to this great, important information and share it with whoever you can.
Awesome.
So today I'm going to be doing a review on Adonis. You'll have to excuse me because I'm coming down with a little bug or something, so I'll be drinking lots of tea and water.
Okay.
So I'm going to review Adonis. We're going to review Adonis today. And Adonis is a cross between the white and green ribbon BX. It's got a fruity flavor, a little bit of an earthy, a little bit of a piney. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on my review because I think there's some other things that James and I were going to chat about today. But Adonis does help with, it relieves anxiety, pain relief. It helps with nausea and vomiting for those of you going through cancer treatment or any other medical treatment that you're taking medications, they cause you to be nauseous. Adonis can help with that. Adonis will help you feel euphoric, creative, and calm, which we all like to be calm, right? This strain originated in Afghanistan, Colombia, Mexico, and Thailand. The negative effects of this strain are dry mouth, and for some people it does cause a little bit slight anxiety. For me, because I have a broken back, I have a fusion with some loose hardware, I get a lot of muscle spasms in my legs at night, so it's almost like my legs kick and kick all night long, like they're trying to detach from my body. So I will smoke a little bit of Adonis right before bed. I know if I've smoked it or not because I will not wake up through the night with major muscle spasms. I've been known to keep my husband up all night with these spasms. I'll kick him and say, "Rub my Charlie horse!" So Adonis is great for muscle spasms, helps me sleep, and it doesn't really give me a whole lot of anxiety. I do have anxiety normally, but this strain doesn't give me anxiety. It just kind of helps me feel calm, relaxes my muscles, and helps me focus on other things besides my pain. So that's what I love about Adonis. Another thing interesting about Adonis is one of those strains that can be made into cannabis oil, which is a very strong concentrate for people who have cancer or other ailments that they need something to get in there and do the job right away. This is what my daughter's cannabis oil is made out of, and this is what is shrinking her brain tumors. So it's not only helping me, but it's helping my daughter. We are both legal here in Montana. It's medical only. We don't have recreation yet. keyword yet. That's what we're fighting for, so that everybody can have access to the medicine that they choose. Um, so that's kind of my spiel for now. Adonis has really been one of my kind of go-to strains because of the massive muscle spasms. So this is one of my all-time favorites. And that's all I have for right now.
Okay, Bridget, awesome. Adonis, huh?
Adonis.
Cool. Well, let's talk to me a little bit, Bridget, about um you know that article, the post that I saw of yours earlier, where it was talking about patients' rights.
Okay, so I talk to a lot of patients. Well, I work at a dispensary, so naturally I talk to a lot of patients. I also do a lot of networking online. I speak to people from all over the world. People tell me their horror stories from Western medicine. So I made a post yesterday about one experience that a patient that I know has gone through, and that experience was this gentleman ended up with skin cancer on his nose. Well, before he knew it, the doctor had gotten the scalpel and just started cutting into his nose, cutting the cancer off with no permission from the patient. So this left him, the rest of his face exposed to the skin cancer that was just recently cut off. Well, he started having some more spots. He decided to try something else, and he was upfront and honest with his doctor. Told his doctor what product he was using, that he wanted to try to treat this naturally. And his doctor turned into his insurance company, which was Medicare, which a lot of our elderly use Medicare. Majority of our elderly use Medicare. Well, this physician contacted Medicare and told Medicare that this patient was seeking alternative treatment for this cancer. The patient received a letter from Medicare stating that they will not cover anything that has to do with skin cancer due to the fact that he tried to use alternative medicine. So this to me is, I mean, this absolutely breaks my heart because I believe that people should have the freedom to choose how they treat themselves, whether it be with alternative medicine, whether it be Western medicine, whether it be both.
Yeah.
I believe we need to be able to choose what we want to do, and our insurance companies and our healthcare providers should support that, and we shouldn't be judged because of the choices that because of how we choose to treat ourselves. I can tell you another example just from my own experience. When my daughter had her brain surgery 6 years ago, she had the post-op MRI. The surgeon who cut the tumor out said he had gotten 99.9% of this tumor. So naturally, we're totally ecstatic. We're thrilled because we didn't think she was going to live through the surgery, let alone live past the surgery. So we get back to Montana and we do a 3-month post-op MRI. This 3-month post-op MRI showed that there was at least 3/4 residual tumor left. So I naturally freaked out. I thought, well, the pathology must have been wrong. They must have, they must have, it must be a different tumor. It must be a fast growing tumor. It must have grown back since then. So it turned out, no, the doctor knew how much he had gotten. It took him 3 months to return my call to answer me why he told us that he had gotten 99.9% of it. He told me that it is hard to tell the difference between residual blood and residual tumor. Now, the only brain MRIs that I've ever seen are my daughter's, and I can clearly look at these MRIs and anybody could tell the difference between blood and tumor. Tumor is a darker gray, blood is a lighter gray. So I'm not only have my own stories from my daughter and myself too, and I worked for Western medicine, but I talk to people all over the world whose whose children have died because of misdiagnosis. Um, do you know that 15,000 Medicare patients a month die because of misdiagnoses or being given the wrong medication? To me, that's not okay. I totally understand that Western medicine is practicing medicine, but I believe that the physicians who are practicing medicine should be held liable for the results of their diagnosis, and they're not. My daughter could have died, and there was nothing we could do with the doctor, nothing we could do with the hospital. Even our hospital experience, she had her brain surgery at the University of Utah. She was 18 years old when she had it. In 8 days, my husband and I had 10 hours of sleep. My daughter was in steroid psychosis. She was trying to rip her IVs out and tear her clothes off and get out of the bed. If she would have gotten out of that hospital bed, she would have hit that floor and cracked her head right open after a fresh brain surgery. Well, my husband and I were desperate. We were falling asleep. We couldn't stay awake. Yes, we were taking shifts, but as some of you know, you've gone through things like this, you know it's hard to sleep when you're a caregiver for someone. So we brought this to the attention of the nurses. The best they could offer us was a video room at the very other end of the hall from where the nurse's desk was, so that we could go and have some breakfast or catch a 15-minute just gather yourselves. They wouldn't help us. They absolutely, we couldn't get them to help take care of my daughter. She had an accident at one point. I had the nurse's button pushed for 45 minutes. My husband and I had gotten my daughter completely cleaned up, showered, her bed changed, everything all cleaned up, and there was still no nurse that came into that room. So at that time, I worked at the hospital in our town, and I was very upset. I'm normally a really happy-go-lucky person. I don't just go tell anybody off, but this was one of those times where you do not mess with the mama bear. So I went out to the hall and I screamed, "I need a nurse in here, stat!" Well, all of a sudden, 4 or 5 nurses come running up, and of course, I just start chewing them out, telling them that this button has been pushed for 45 minutes. I mean, it got so bad that I had to call my home hospital that I worked, speak to my ER doctors, and get it approved for life flight to fly her from Salt Lake back to Montana. So that's why I speak. This is why I show my face. This is why I smoke in front of all you people, is to show you that this is not a bad thing, that you deserve to have the options to choose how you treat yourselves. People are being blackballed by not only physicians, but by insurance companies. I have seen insurance claims denied. I have seen vets turned away because the physicians cannot get the VA to pay them. So this is not right. Our vets they fought for our freedoms, and now they're fighting to save their own lives, and they don't even have the support like they deserve. So that's why I'm here. That's why I smoke in front of all you guys. Too many stories like that. I can't go back to work for Western medicine. I work for you guys now. I tell your stories. I show my face so that people can associate the face with the realities of marijuana.
Awesome, Bridget. Thanks. Thanks so much for all that and that story that you were talking about. And I've heard a lot of cases. I feel well, just to be quite honest, I kind of feel like I'm in a bubble. I hear about the horror stories, but thankfully I've avoided a lot of those. Um, but I hear about it out there. People being denied, and just there's certain laws, like in Colorado, if you sign up to get a medical marijuana card, you're not allowed to have a gun. So there's certain things that people are just being whatever, prejudiced against people that use cannabis, and it's showing in the health system, and it's just we've been watching this for years. And I always say it's like the great dinosaur is rearing its head, like the old systems that aren't working, but they still have a lot of the money and control. But the people are waking up right now, and all over the place. They're waking up and they're understanding that there's another way. And people are more and more. You're hearing people talk about cannabis and natural and other alternatives. Me personally, like I'm some of my family members that are the most conservative Christian people that you would ever meet. They're starting to talk about it. They're asking questions about their friends that have autoimmune diseases or different things like that. Older people, my 93-year-old grandmother, is asking me questions about using it for arthritis and different things like that. So I don't know. It's just amazing to me, all the stories that come in, that come in, and I'm really appreciative of everything that you're doing, Bridget, to come out and tell a lot of these stories and really give a voice and a face to what we're doing. The work that we're doing, and Sonia's out there as much as she can, but being a mom to a young child, we really need more of our community members to step up, and we're really seeing that with a lot of this community. People are stepping up in their local communities, in their local states, and one of our friends, Cody Barlow, he's got all these petitions for Oklahoma, and he's out there doing the work and fighting the fight. I got a lot of respect for Cody, and different ones are standing up all over. People are reaching out to me from Florida and Arkansas and all across the South. And I know that we've always known that the South was going to be they were going to take the longest to accept cannabis. And so anyway, interesting stories. Well, today I'll do a little bit of a strain review. I've got this. Let's see if I can get on a bigger screen. I'll take over a little bit here. I've got this oil.
Ooh.
And it's really clear. It's just got kind of a very light color. You guys can see it.
That's beautiful.
All right. And guess what? This is the Granddaddy Purple Oil.
Oh no! I need some of that, James.
Yeah. So we'll figure out. We'll have to make a trip for. The problem is between you and me is Wyoming, right?
Yeah, right?
So what I do with this Granddaddy Purple Oil is I've got this interesting vaporizer, and I fill this little cartridge. You can see on the side there's like a little black. Well, it's actually like a tiny piece of rubber that's like acts as a plug, and you can see the oil in there. I know it's not the best, but you guys can kind of see the oil that sits in that cartridge. It's kind of like a Pax pen, but I've been searching all over, and I found this from Candy Pens, Bridget.
Oh, nice.
And I've been searching all over China to figure out if I can find something like this, because I found that this is really a really simple way to ingest and use cannabis, and it's very discreet too.
That's what I like about the vapes is they're so nice and discreet. You don't have to light up. You don't have to hunker down anywhere. Everybody vapes nicotine now, so it's so common that people just don't even look twice at you.
Exactly. And the thing about this Granddaddy Purple Oil, though, it's really strong.
That's how we like it, James.
So this was something that I would call a medical grade oil. If you had like some type of chronic anything really, I mean, if you have anxiety, this is going to calm you down. This stuff is like a pure indica, and it really settles you down. For some people, it might put you right to sleep. Any type of pain or any soreness, I mean, it just makes all your aches and pains go away. It's a pretty neat oil, Granddaddy Purple Oil. So that's my review of the day. You smoke a few puffs from this, and it kind of feels like a warm blanket falls all around you. And yeah, highly recommended, the Granddaddy Purple Oil.
Yep.
Okay, so what else, Bridget? What else do we want to talk about today?
So I did have one other story I kind of wanted to share from a somebody that I've been talking with. Um, Let me just get to it here.
Okay.
Okay, so this person had been misdiagnosed. Um, this person had pulled a muscle in their back, and 6 days later, the patient was paralyzed because an infection in the patient's spine. Now, this is not the first time that I have heard this. So, to those of you who are getting spinal injections, this seems to be kind of a common thing. I've witnessed it in person, and I'm now networking with people who are telling me the same thing. So this person went back to the doctor. They did emergency surgery. They gave this patient 2 to 5 hours to live after they found that the patient had been paralyzed from this
Oh,
spinal procedure.
oh my gosh.
Um, so they had to do emergency surgery. They cut him out. They cut the patient open, drained the infection out of the spine, and naturally there was damage done to the spinal cord. The patient is still paralyzed, what they call an incomplete paraplegic. The patient can move their legs, but has very little feeling from the belly button down. Now, this is a real person. These are real stories. This is really happening to people. I preach about that we deserve a good quality of life. Cannabis can give us that. Not only those of us who are sick or have major illnesses or chronic pain, but it can help everybody. Um, there's so much mental illness going on in the world right now, and people drink. That's how they shut their mental illness off. They drink alcohol, and then they don't know what they're doing. They go and they shoot up their neighbor's house. They beat their wives. They abuse their kids. I think that if we had better access and it was legal for everyone, people would choose cannabis over alcohol, and possibly situations like this, I mean, they might not happen. There would be less of them. And that goes back to, I think that physicians should be held liable, legally liable, for making wrong diagnosis, for causing people for this to happen. It affects the whole rest of their lives. It doesn't just affect them now, it affects them the rest of their lives. They have to live with it. And people like me who are kind of busybodies, I have a hard time staying in one spot. So for me to be totally laid up in bed because of my back and my back surgery is my mind fighting my body the whole time, saying, no, you got to get up, you got to do something, you got to move, you're hurting because you're, then my body's saying, no, don't move. So then I can smoke some cannabis, and my mind and my body are at peace. They're not fighting each other. I'm not adding extra stress and anxiety to what my body's already going through. So I hear a lot of these stories. I know a lot of people who are completely handicapped because of what Western medicine's done to them. I know a lot of people who are completely handicapped that used to take numerous pills every single day, and now they've cut all their pills out and they smoke cannabis, or they eat it, or they take capsules, or they use topicals. Um, so it's really important that we all know and we share it with everybody that cannabis has great healing properties. It can do everything from calm your nerves to kill your cancer. That's a pretty wide range of problems that cannabis can help with. I don't know many prescription medications that can help with that wide of a range of problems. So that's my thoughts.
Bridget, Bridget, that's awesome.
It's really sad to hear these stories too. I speak with mothers who have gone through the same thing that I have with my daughters. Their children are being diagnosed with brain tumors. Right now, there's a lot of childhood leukemia going on. I'm networking with a lot of parents whose children have all of a sudden developed childhood leukemia. I know people who are are ending up with breast cancer, people who live in the same neighborhoods just popping up with these same diagnoses. And so I think that partly is Western medicine forcing medicines on us. You know how those commercials come up and say, "Oh, try this drug. This drug will work for da 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 da." Well, then they give you a list of all the side effects. And what is usually the last side effect? Death. Okay? You take this pill and you can have diarrhea, bleeding, da 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 da,
Oh
a
my
rash,
God.
you name it. And the worst thing is death. Okay? If you smoke some of this, or you eat an edible, or you take a capsule, or you're eating tincture, I can guarantee you will not die. You might get tired. Your worst side effects are going to be that you might get sleepy, you're going to get hungry, and you're going to get the giggles.
Yeah.
Isn't that what everybody needs to heal? We all need to laugh. We all need to be able to relax. We all need to have a good time and have a good peace of mind with our body. And when you're facing traumatic medical problems, your mind is already consumed with the how scary how scary this is going to be. What does my future hold for me? That right there is scary. So if I smoke some weed, then it helps me just kind of be like, okay, let me put things into perspective now. My brain isn't all over here, 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 here. I have a smoke. I can sit down. I can be like, okay, what research do I need to do for my daughter today? How can I give back to the public for giving me the information I needed to save my daughter's life? So it kind of helps put things into perspective for you as well. I'm a professional woman. I've always been professional. I've always worked in the medical world, and I've worked hard. My number one thing is my patients and how they're treated. And that's why I'm here, because the cannabis community is great. I've had nothing but love, support. I've met great people. James, Sonia, you guys are a perfect example. You're helping me kind of get to this path so that I can maybe share information with another mother that will help her save her daughter's life. Or I can help a vet who's been brainwashed to think that cannabis is a bad thing and you're going to go crazy and it's reefer madness. And so they're going to dish them out hundreds of pills to take for it that just cause more problems for the vet. I want to be able to get information to our vets to say it's okay. You can smoke cannabis. It's okay. You have the right and you deserve to be able to choose. So thank you, James and Sonia, for helping pave the way for people like us to. And Cody Barlow, you're right. Cody does a lot of work. He was part of the reason that helped convince my daughter to let us come out and be like, look, this is how it is. There's people out there that are in risk of losing their freedoms. I personally, right now, I'm in a good spot that I'm not. So I'm going to step out of the crowd and show my face. For those of you who cannot, we understand that you cannot step out and show your face because there's such a stigma attached with this. So I think it's really important that we just keep sharing our stories and keep talking and spread information. And that's the best gift we can give.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for all that, Bridget.
My
I'm just
pleasure.
I'm totally go along with everything that you're saying and what you're doing and standing up for your family and the stories that are being told. Also our friend Creed Leffler, he's doing a lot of work out there. A lot of you, spreading the word. If you guys are getting value from this, I'd love for you guys to share this post. Even though Facebook is censoring the shit out of us right now, they're still allowing us to be on here. I'm thankful. Still trying to continue with this free speech in a nonviolent way to share a message from the people. This is not just stuff that I make up myself. We're referencing, doctors, professional articles, science-based stuff that we look up. I'm publishing articles every day on the topic, Bridget, for all of you guys. For those of you that want a little bit more access to me or Sonia, I invite you to type invite in the chat right now. I'm going to send you to a sales page that I have. We're creating our own platform where we can live stream videos and create upgraded content for you guys. We're going to bring in all different walks of life from this cannabis industry. We're going to start interviewing doctors, scientists. We're going to teach people how to grow cannabis. If people are interested in joining the cannabis movement, getting a job in the industry, we're going to have information for you guys for that. If you need private consulting, if you're looking for a doctor, if you're wanting to learn about CBD, the differences between marijuana CBD and hemp-derived CBD, different things like that. We're going to be teaching about all that stuff, but we need your help to keep this message and this movement going. So I invite you to type invite in the chat or go to www.thegreenamerica.com and join us, support us with what we're doing here. We are continuing to get the message out there so that we can get safe access to this plant and many others that we use for our health and recreation. A lot of us here in the group believe that cannabis should be used for medicine, for food, for recreational use. Actually, I've got a friend this weekend, and I was going to show you guys something. Let me see if I can share my screen, if this is going to work. I wanted to show you guys, my friend is hosting, let's see if this is going to work. Let's see, how can I use this? Share here. Let's see. Okay. Now, can you see my screen, Bridget?
Nope, I just see you.
Oh, shoot. Okay, let's see. How about, let's see. Can you see it now?
Nope.
Dang. Can't see my screen?
Just you.
Oh, I was trying to show. My friend is hosting a hemp concrete workshop this weekend.
Ooh.
And they're going to build a whole outbuilding. He's got a little farm outside of Boulder, Colorado. And they're going to build a whole outbuilding out of hemp.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm really excited to see how that all goes. I'd like to see the end results. I bet you this is going to be wonderful.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna post the link to the event. If any of you guys are near Colorado, this will be a cool event to go to. I'm not sure how many people he's expecting, so I'm gonna blow him up right now. But I'm really proud of him. It's my buddy Nick. I just posted in the group here, you guys, and there it is. You guys can all check it out. So he's gonna have this hemp concrete, and I guess they build concrete out of it. They mix it with mud. They shred all the stalks up into a fiber, and then mix it with mud and different natural materials, and they make like a thick concrete mud out of it. I'm not sure if he's going to make blocks with it or if he's just going to pack it all into a form and then let it dry.
Wow,
But
that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a sauna, like a sauna and like a bathhouse, a shower, kind of an outhouse, for
Ooh.
different ones that come by there, I guess. So that's pretty cool.
Heck yeah. Is there a lot of places over there like that, James, that are built with hemp?
Not a lot, but it's happening more and more. I'm hearing about, like, it's because it's booming so big in Colorado. There's a lot of farmers that are embracing hemp right now.
Oh, great.
And not just, there's the hemp that they grow for the CBD oil, but there's a lot of different strains of hemp marijuana, right? There's strains that are really tall and they have hardly any flowers, and they use all the stalks for building material. And they shred them down and they make rope with it. So there's some pretty big farmers out here that are really interested in growing, a lot of hemp. I think they're not making as much money growing corn and wheat and the different crops that they've been used to, and they're seeing a big opportunity for hemp. So that's also some specials that we're going to do on the inside of the Green America. we're going to be talking about hemp, what it's doing for our country, the opportunities there, because I just see so many opportunities. And so I guess I'll open it up to a few questions, you guys. I saw a question about hemp cannabis, CBD that's made from hemp and CBD that's made from marijuana. So to me, as far as I can tell, it's virtually the same CBD, but they'll refine the CBD from the cannabis oil, which means they'll completely take out the THC. And there's a process, there's a distillation process that they do that out, and it's at a certain temperature that they can burn off the THC and are left with the CBD. So I'm not sure who was asking that question, but the hemp, that CBD that's coming from hemp, that's from industrial hemp. There's very little THC in that hemp. There might be 1%, or there might be 0.5%, but like in Colorado, you can only have 0.3%. I think for the whole nation, that's what it is, 0.3% THC in order for it to be a legitimate, illegal product that can be shipped to all 50 states. It has to have less than 0.3% THC. So a lot of the strains that they have, they're selected, and they're purposely bred. They breed out all the CBD. Okay, so they go for selection, and they test these plants, and they find the one with the least CBD, and then they start genetically, populating these and creating, lots of seeds, and however they, I think they also do like plant cultures where they'll take clones and they'll propagate the tissue of the plant. So everything is consistent all the way across. So that's a little bit about what I know on CBD strains. Here in Colorado, there's a handful of strains, and all the CBD farmers, there's like a handful of strains that they talk about, just like how we talk about the cannabis strains, Bridget. There's a handful of CBD hemp strains they're known as like the legitimate strains in the industry that are legal to grow, with the Department of Agriculture and all that. So that's a little bit of info about hemp CBD and cannabis CBD. Now CBD plants also have different cannabinoids like CBN, which is helpful for sleep. If you have insomnia, products that are high in CBN are really helpful for sleep. So I thought that was neat. Also, I'm going to be doing a special with a biotech company. Bridget, I've been talking to this biotech company that's using, I don't know if you've ever heard of like using magnets for polarization, or using magnets on your muscles, or some people, they put them in their bed and they lay down on these magnets, and so it's supposed to polarize, right? Well, I was talking to this biotech company today. They're polarizing cannabis.
Wow.
And they're polarizing the oils. I guess from what they explained to me, the oils take on all the characteristics. And guess what it does, Bridget? They told me that they've tested 6,000 people with this new technology where they I'm going to leak a little bit of the information right now, okay, you guys? Just because I don't come on here very often, and it's one of my, bonus broadcasts, but they basically told me that this thing is like a refrigerator, but it's like a $500,000. I mean, it's like a crazy tech refrigerator, right? And it's got all these high power magnets in it. And what they told me it does, it adds to the molecular availability of the cannabinoids. And they're testing it with CBD and THC. And you know what it does, Bridget? What do you think that it would do if you completely polarized cannabis and optimized its effects?
I would think that it would just kick your endocannabinoid system into high gear and help get things healing.
Well, that's exactly one of the things that it does. But do you know what the main thing that they told me that it does as well is? It takes away the bad side effects of cannabis.
Oh, so the extra sleepiness.
Well, they told me that it takes away people that get anxiety.
Oh, okay.
People that get paranoia. People, maybe they feel like their heart's racing. I guess that's kind of in the anxiety category. But like, if like my dad, for instance, when he uses cannabis, he gets really paranoid and he doesn't feel good. And I've tried to tell him, like, maybe just take a little microdose. Don't take so much. But for some people, I don't know. I've heard a lot of, there's a certain percentage of people for sure, when they use cannabis, they get paranoid or they get anxiety or it just doesn't make them feel good
Yep.
for whatever reason. And so I thought that was fascinating that they told me it takes away all the negative stuff that people talk about and it makes it more biomolecularly available to your body, so you absorb it more, and I guess it's all through this polarity process with these super high charged electromagnets. So if you guys want to learn more about this kind of stuff, we're gonna get like a professional film crew and do a really high produced, different types of master classes on all this kind of stuff. We're gonna visit different people's extraction rooms. We're gonna go to doctors' offices, and we're gonna quite possibly, Bridget, we're gonna come visit you, and we're gonna come visit different community members all over the country, and we're gonna highlight you guys. We're gonna bring you guys out the different stories that we want to tell. The ones that really want to tell their story and have something to share that they think is gonna that might change, the way things go for our country right now. We're kind of in this little limbo. Even though it seems like there's this huge mass movement towards cannabis, there's still a lot of people fighting it. And it just so happens those people, they've got way more money than all of the folks like you and me. They've got a lot of money. So the only way that we can really, this is part of the reason why we did it like this, Bridget, was to tell everybody's story, because that's what we found, that education was the thing that moved people the most. The stories is what really moved the regulators and the authority figures to take another look at this and say, hey, I have a friend that has a child too that has seizures, and they need this too. And so these stories, bringing out all these stories, is really what me and Sonia have seen has really done the most for the movement. And I think that's why I've focused a lot on the community aspect of what we're doing, because I've been on the side of growing the plants and being in the dispensary and serving the people the product, but it's the stories that are making almost more of an impact than the product is. It's changing the way people think that don't even use cannabis or natural
Well,
plants in general.
and it's people like you and Sonia, James, that are helping pave the way for those of us like Cree, Cody, myself, my daughter, have made it possible and set up this platform for us to be able to come tell our stories. So we thank you very much for letting us share our stories and giving us a platform to share, even if we are censored. This is what it's going to take. Like you said, last week, that there's a congressman out there somewhere whose child is sick and can be healed with cannabis. And with us being able to come out like this, the information is much more accessible than if there weren't any shows like yours, or if people were still too afraid to come out. I'm a little nervous still to be out, but for the most part, I've had mostly support. I've had a couple people that give me the thumbs down, but boo to them. We just give them love and light and wish them the best. And that's kind of who we're looking for, though, right, James? As the skeptics, we want
Yeah.
them to see us. We want them to hear our stories.
Yep. Exactly. All right. All right. Well, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good right now. The Granddaddy Purple is definitely um, kicking in.
Good. Giving you a little body relax. I know last
Yep.
week when I smoked that, I was kind of turned into jello here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and smoke my Adonis then. I'm still using my little wick. I'm still unsure about it, but actually, let's smell it. Ooh, it's got a really sweet, earthy, more more of like a sweetish sour smell. And oh my gosh, we will be getting something so you guys can see this better, but I don't know if you can see how big this is.
Oh, we're gonna send. Yeah, I'm gonna need to send you one of those